Rod Simmons says, shouldn't we be trying to save Verrett for closer to the second half of the season in hopes for him making it healthy for a playoff run? I mean, yeah, but it seems to me that here's my question. If the Niners had won last week in Atlanta, would Bosa and Jimmy Ward and Verrett be potentially playing this week against the Chiefs? Or is this kind of a desperation move?
No, I think they would. I mean, these were conversations that were popping up before the game. So, they did have Nick Bosa. He was practicing, and maybe they felt like they could get through the Atlanta game without those guys and still win.
But they were all gearing up to this game. It was always gearing up to this game.
I think they were going to be playing in this game no matter what.
Yeah, of course. Desmond LaFleur says, do you think Kyle Shanahan will ever use Jordan Mason? Eventually he'll have to.
Yeah, but, I mean,
it's discouraging.
I don't know. I haven't really seen him. I mean, we watched him in preseason. It's okay, you can tote the rock a little bit, but I haven't seen anything to where it's like, oh, man, I got to run him. Like, I got to have him on the field because he does this so much better than these other guys. Now, maybe he does, and maybe he just needs an opportunity, but I think to the extent of how I hear a lot of fans talk about him, I haven't seen that version of a back just yet.
Well, we've only seen one carry, but
right.
I really haven't seen much of him anyway. I just like the way he seems difficult to tackle, and he seems decisive. But I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
I call him Jeff Wilson Jr. He reminds me a lot of
Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff Wilson Jr. Jr.
Yeah, okay. Jeff Wilson Jr. The third. There we go.
The third. GTC Real says, this is blasphemous. How dare y'all crap on Harbs? Wait till Kyle gets his 2029 Super Bowl runner-up reunion. That's going to be fun.
I think that's sarcasm.
Super fun. Yeah, I got it. JC says, what is the schedule for the Cohn Phone Show? It's Saturday mornings when I'm not on the road. So I was on the road the last 2 weekends. I'll do it this weekend, I promise. Nee says, did you see Tart's comments about injuries? Eagles practices were eye-opening, much lighter, more focus on recovery than Niners banging every day. Huh. Interesting. I always thought the Niners
when the player speaks out, there's something to that.
Yeah, Tart would know.
If that's how he feels about how it was.
Tart would know. Anyway.
He would know.
Yeah,
especially if he comes out and says it, then that means he feels pretty strongly about it.
Oof, that's not good.
Hey, maybe that's the difference between Sirianni and
there you go.
Kyle.
There you go. Josh says, can you guys speak to what the Lynch-Harbaugh relationship would be and if it would work? Lynch-Harbaugh. Boy, that's interesting. I don't know.
I think it would work well because they're so opposite, right? Like no matter what, John Lynch is, and I think it would be similar to what we see right now. Because John Lynch is a people pleaser, right? He's going to make sure he says all the right things and do all these. Yeah. He's not going to go against, and again, not Kyle, but Harbaugh, he's weird, right? He's like quirky. That's the word that people like to use.
Yes.
He's a quirky guy.
He's eccentric. He's eccentric. Yeah.
He's different. But as long as you're not this hard ass, like you won't butt heads with him, right? Like what we saw with Trent Baalke. It was like, it was too much of, I want to be the guy, I want to be the man, where I don't think John Lynch cares about being the guy. I don't think John Lynch cares about being the man. I think he's just about trying to build a winning culture. So I think those two guys actually would work well together.
Also, I feel like Harbaugh and Lynch would have a mutual respect. They played together. They were both, Pro Bowl players in the same era. Now, Lynch was a lot better, but I don't think Harbaugh could ever really respect Trent Baalke. Like, who are you? It's different with Lynch. And Lynch, I think
why
also
do they call you coach?
Right. Also with Baalke, he was always giving he would give players to the coaching staff that didn't fit their scheme. Like Tank Carradine. I remember that. And Fangio was just like, what? I run a 3-4. What are you doing here? And like, oh, it's cool. Just put 20 pounds on him. He'll be a 3-tech. Like, what are you talking about? He would do that stuff all the time. Whereas Lynch is just like, tell me what you want. I'm not trying to be in a competition with you. I'm not an expert at this. Like, what I want to give the coaches what they want, and that's what he does with Kyle. So I mean, It could work. It could work. A couple more, and then we'll get to our game preview, which I'm really interested to hear what Eric says. I haven't asked him yet. Jed parading potential replacements. Humble Kyle Shanahan. I don't know, man. It just might bring out the best in him this week.
That's a good one.
It might. Jason says, trade Kyle Shanahan. We should be putting up 30 points every week with these weapons. Promote D'Amico Ryans. Keep the D strong and get a young OC that can score points.
I don't know if they should be scoring 30 every week, but I know they should be scoring more than 14.
Hell yeah. And look, they're not going to trade Kyle mid-season, but I understand these are the options that you could think about as the season goes on. Miguel says,
and I saw someone say like, everybody, the sky is falling. And it's like, no, they're 3-3, but it's like, why are they 3-3?
Right.
And it's because of the offense, which is your baby, Kyle, and they just can't score points. Like it took the best defense since 2000 in those wins. Like your defense had to be that good.
Yes,
or you probably weren't going to walk away with a W. Like that's tough to do week in and week out. At some point, your offense has to pick up the slack, pick up their end, and they've struggled to do that. That falls on the head man. So the sky isn't falling. They can definitely improve. But what we've seen to this point, 6 games in, it's been very consistent that the offense is very lackluster.
Yeah, and once the offense gets its stuff together, they should be just fine. But it's like, now's the time. Miguel says Jed York being passive-aggressive by bringing Harbaugh this weekend against the Chiefs. Harbaugh can definitely develop Trey Lance. I mean, Colin Kaepernick never got hurt. He never ran Colin Kaepernick between the tackles like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And one thing that I really liked about him, the whole, hitting.
Yep. Pumping him up. Not
like that.
Like
to me, like as a player, it's like, all right, let's go, coach. Like, you just get like a different vibe aside from a coach that just be like, just walking around, cussing you out, run the effing play. Like, all that. It's like, dude, like,
set your effing feet.
And going back to Jake Plummer's comments on the dad, talking about he never felt like anything he did was good enough. Right. And I think there can be some of that. Now you got to be a pro. You make a lot of money. But, there's just.
It's true.
Kyle's
a micromanager. His dad was too. And if you think about what Kyle and his dad did, I mean, his dad won a Super Bowl with the 49ers because he was the offensive coordinator of a team that was stacked. And what he did was he replaced Roger Craig and Tom Rathman with Ricky Waters and William Floyd. He replaced their running backs, and that was enough to win a Super Bowl. Then he goes from there to Denver and gets, older John Elway and brings in some running backs and wins 2 Super Bowls. Like that's what the Shanahans do. You give them a Hall of Fame quarterback with a great defense, they'll bring in some running backs and they'll complete the team. But if you need them to pick the quarterback or develop the quarterback, neither of them have ever done it. Ever. And I think there's a reason why. One more question, then we'll move on. David the Prankster says, Grant, I'm so happy fans are waking up to Kyle. He's the definition of insanity. He calls the plays in section of the field to increase injury and then will complain about the injuries. He chews the 53. It is on him if the next man up can't perform. Yeah. He and his dad use the injury excuse a little too freely. I think it bugs me. Yeah, it is football, but you're the most injured team in the league. Look at your decisions. I mean, the way he didn't take any responsibility for rushing Trey Lance between the tackles, I think was kind of a microcosm of his problem. Like, that wasn't your fault at all. That was a perfect play. Okay, then. Well, you got to live with the consequences of being the most injured team.
He could have handed it off. So.
Sure. Hunter says, hey, Grant, appreciate the content. Curious, why does Mr. Lowell call you Iggy? Everyone that knew me before college calls me Iggy. I always felt like Grant was too grown up when I was a kid, and it was my, family name. Hi, I'm 7. I'm Grant. It just seemed like too much. Scott Short says, think Jim wears the iconic pants for the reunion. Oh, that would be tough.
100%. Probably just went to Walmart and picked them up right now.
I wonder if he's going to wear Niner stuff. I wonder when the last time he wore it. When he went off the field, what I heard is he came off the field the last game, went into his office, took off his Niner sweatshirt and threw it in the trash can and left. So I don't know if he's ever worn anything since. David the Prankster says, I also want to say the Niners should look at Ken Dorsey before the Cardinals do. Yeah, that's a good point. I have a feeling Ken Dorsey's going to be a head coach next year if he doesn't blow it the next half of the year. He's got a good start so far. Joey says, would you bring Raj on the show? I've never met Raj, but I probably would. Yeah. Do you know Raj?
Yeah, Raj is cool. Yeah, he runs I think he has over 200,000 followers on Instagram on his 49ers page. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Well, if Eric says he's cool, then yeah. Sean says Kyle's offense can't put up points. I think the players aren't bought in anymore. Their body language shows it on the field. He's lost the locker room. Wow. Well, let's see. Hold on. Let's see what happens this week against Kansas City before we say that.
I think the players are bought in.
Yeah.
I don't think they're not bought in. I think they are in tune with what's going on. There's a lack of execution.
Yeah. Maybe they kind of felt that, hey, if we're going to sit half of our starters against Atlanta, how sold out are we to win this game? It just kind of felt like hey, we're okay losing this game kind of vibe. I don't think they feel that way this week. All of a sudden, it's all hands on deck. It's I don't expect them to be lackluster. I actually kind of think they're going to win this game. And I'm mentally preparing myself for them to win this game. Because everyone's going to say that they're Super Bowl contenders again. And I'm thinking, hold on. Hold on. They're very talented. We all know this. But look at Kansas City. This Kansas City team is not the same one that beat them in the Super Bowl at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not.
Got a couple more.
Not having Tyreek Hill, that does. I mean, a lot of it goes through Travis Kelce. A lot of this offense. Their run game is, and this is talking to somebody that does a lot of underdog fantasy, promo code Crocky. But, I do a lot of player props, and I always pick like the under on a lot of the Chiefs running back props because they don't put an emphasis on running the ball. They will run it here and there, and they'll do it. Yeah. But like Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the second half, he had 5 carries.
Yep.
Right, like and then you might get McKinnon to get like 2 carries, and then Pacheco might get 2 carries, but they're not really like running the football isn't a part of their true identity.
It'll be interesting to see if Jason Verrett plays. I mean, if he plays and he plays well, and he can play the rest of the season next to Travarius Ward,
that'd be huge.
That'd be huge. The Niners just might have that great defense again. Johns George says Harbaugh overachieved with his squad, but Kyle is underachieving with his. Kyle's offense is super complicated. Stars need to align to score points. And you need to be on the team for like 7 years to get on the field. Jordan Mason, you got to pass the SATs. It's like you got to pass the bar to get on the field in this team, man.
From what I've been told from people that have been in that offense, it is more difficult than any other offense that they've been in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I wonder why. I don't know why that is, but it's extremely dependent on timing.
Yeah.
And that's tough because one thing can kind of throw the timing off, and then the play can kind of be screwed up.
Yeah, hence the turnovers. If it's that dependent on timing, if the timing's off, you run 65 plays again, you pass 30 times, time's going to be off a few times. Rod Simmons says, you think KS is going to attempt to debut Jordan Mason the way he did Mostert second half of the season, Super Bowl year, trying to repeat history? Maybe he's saving him. I just don't understand why he's on the team if you're not going to use him. You gave him you cut Trey Sermon for this guy. Why? Can we bring back Tart with our injuries? Yeah, if you give him $2 million. Maybe 3. I don't think he wants to play. He does, but not for the vet minimum. He made that clear. I'm not playing for the vet minimum. Yeah.
I think the first year out of kind of, not making the money that you're used to making, I think guys kind of push back on either making vet minimum or even the practice squad money. But then that next year, they're like, all right, I'll take it.
I miss football. I feel you.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll see. But I've always liked Tart, man. I think he's a good football player for sure.
Hold on. Carson says, who wins, healthy Shanahan team or Harbaugh's? Healthy Shanahan team. What, for the 1 week a year? I don't know. Harbaugh's team had a good offensive line. That was the thing about it. It had the best offensive line in the league in 2012.
Yeah, they're moving bodies.
They
invested too. Anthony Davis, Mikey Potty. I was like, how are you John taking Dez Bryant? I was upset they passed over Dez.
They took Potty over Dez, or they took Anthony Davis over Dez?
I don't remember. It was one of them. I mean, I guess essentially both of them.
Yeah, if you remember though, like Anthony Davis, he was when he got hurt. That was the end of the franchise, pretty much. They didn't have him in 2014. They replaced him with Jonathan Martin. They couldn't really run the ball anymore. Yeah. That was rough. Grant, you're a jinx. Stop picking the Niners for good. You got to pay me millions of dollars to stop picking the Niners. Sorry, I do it on purpose. What will it take for Shanna Bland to play Jordan Mason? I don't know. Reverse psychology. Don't play him, Kyle. Voice ad agency says only way we win this game is if every club in the Bay Area gives free bottle service to anyone playing offense for KC. Man, that's bleak. I'm telling you, man. Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster shouldn't beat the Niners. It's all about stopping Kelce, and I think with Ward they can do it.
Well, I actually think Kelce gets his, but you got to make sure that the others don't beat you. Yeah. So don't let Juju beat you. Don't let Valdez-Scantling beat you, because Valdez, he has a big play in him. Juju has a big play in him. So, but you just kind of if Kelce has his 8 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown.
0 touchdowns. Zero touchdowns is what you want.
Cool. Yeah. But you can't let Juju have 100, which I think he had last week, and Valdez-Scantling have big plays. Like, you can't have that.
That's what the Niners did to the Rams a few weeks ago, right? Like they gave up like 15 catches to Cooper Kupp, but he didn't score, and no one else did anything on that team. Right. That's a good blueprint. Zay Torres says, I have my doubts about Kyle, but he usually comes through once people start questioning his ability. Seems like the environment he likes to remind people. That's what I'm saying, and I'm not going to pick against him this week. I'm not, because if I pick against him and he beats the Chiefs, then everyone's going to say I have to apologize to him. I'm not doing that. Not this week. Not week 7. I think he's going to win. Hell no. I've seen him do this before. I know he can do it. John Zach says, is it safe to say McDaniel was the offensive genius? His offense looked lost without him. Again, I'm not talking reckless this week because he could win. I'm not that confident in the Chiefs. I'm not putting my entire reputation on the back of Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo this week. Not happening. Sean says, Kyle, where's TDP, Mason, and Gray? Why no reps? Yeah, man, like, come on, play your rookies, man. It seems like he only plays rookies if he has no choice. And then they play well, and he's like, wow, I'm so surprised. I guess I'll keep playing you. Hufanga should have played last year. You can't tell me that he went from scrub to freaking Pro Bowler. Like, nah, he should have been playing. Too conservative. Saying.
Or at least figuring out a way to incorporate him more than what they did.
Exactly. D. Wood says, what great offensive mind who had a bad QB look great? McDaniels was the man till his starter went down. I'm just saying. That is true. And
well,
I think Kyle's been
but hold on, Iggy. They just said McDaniel was the man till the starting quarterback went down. Like, have y'all heard how people talked about Tua prior to this season?
True.
He was a bum.
Nobody
liked him. He sucked. He's a bust. He was a top 5 pick. He's terrible.
Coach
and now
fired.
all of a sudden, McDaniel shows up. He believes in him. Oh, man, he's the greatest. He's the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. He's playing at a high level. And then, once he goes down. But I think the part there is getting the most out of your players. It comes back to that.
Yeah.
Can you get the most out of your quarterbacks?
Yeah.
And however you go about doing that. Tua, I heard all of it. I don't just pay attention to 49ers, pay attention to everybody. I'm in the spaces. I listen just what they're saying about other teams. Tua was a bum. That was the narrative. He sucked. And McDaniel shows up, and all of a sudden,
breathes life into him.
Now all of a sudden, he looked great until his quarterback went down. The quarterback that everybody said was a bum before this season.
Yeah, before Tua got hurt, you have to agree that McDaniel was getting the most out of that offense.
Right.
I mean, he was. And Kyle maybe got the most out of the 2016 Falcons offense. He certainly did, but he's not right now. And it's early. And, I'm sure he was totally thinking Trey Lance and 11-on-11 football and zone read and yada, yada, yada. Dude, you've coached Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 years. No excuses. Figure it out right now. Don't wait till the bye week. That's all I'm saying.
And also, it's not just their starting quarterback that went down. It's the starting quarterback that went down. They have a high-priced backup quarterback. He went down, and then now they're playing with somebody. I can't think of his name. I don't know where he went to school. I don't even know who he could be Grant Cohn for all I know. I don't even know who this guy is, but that's who their quarterback is right now.
It's not. Edgardo says Juju had 2 TDs last week. We can't let that happen. True.
Right. Yeah.
True. And, it's going to be tough. Like, the Chiefs lost last week. They generally don't lose 2 games in a row. It's going to be a hell of a game if the Niners show up. David Velez says, did we ever find out the insane record the Niners have when both Bosa and Debo start versus when Jimmy starts? I think Jesse Naylor knows. I forget. But that's the reason they win. Agrees. Eric says, voice ad agency. Also, those rough games were 2 back-to-back division games being thrown in cold. I saw great poise in Trey Lance given the situation he was in. Agree? I still like him.
He's continuing. He's working towards it. He's working towards it. I saw this, and this is how I view it. When you watch the Bears game, first 3 quarters of the Bears game, all right, and then the monsoon hit. So that's that's
first 3 quarters.
I'll give him that mulligan with the monsoon. And if anybody that was there, y'all know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. All right, but the first 3 quarters, I felt like I saw whatever I was drafting Trey Lance to be. I saw someone putting those things on display, throwing the ball down the field, pushing it. To Juwan Jennings, the layered throw in between 3 guys to Ray. Some decisive throws, stepping up in the pocket, throwing a strike over the middle, first down, third down. Okay, I need to pick it up with my legs. I'm gonna do that. Like the deep out route with timing to Brandon Ayuk, even though they call it offensive pilot. Like you were seeing you were seeing it come together. You were seeing it come together until the monsoon hit.
What kills me is I feel like Kyle overreacted to training camp. Trey didn't play well in training camp, but he was going against the best defense in the league.
Well, now we know, right? It's like, these dudes are kind of good.
Mosley was out there and Ward was out there. There were 0 easy completions. He completed about 53% of his throws. It was bad, and I think Kyle's like, man, we're going to need to really run the ball with him early on to win games and move the ball. It's like, nah, man, just call the game like you did against Houston last year because those are the kind of defenses you're going to be facing early on, and I think that's the problem. I mean, that Seattle defense is trash, especially early in the year. They didn't have to play that way early in the game. Yeah. Anyway, Stafford was on Jalen Ramsey's podcast and said he thought he was going to SF. Says, look. I reported at the time that Stafford thought he was going to the 49ers. I don't try to break news, but sometimes people tell me things. And what I heard is that Stafford and his camp thought they were going to the Niners. They were a little lukewarm on the Bay Area. You know how Stafford is. He's a little conservative, a little lukewarm, didn't really know how he felt about the Bay Area, but was into it. Was into the Niners, was into Kyle, was going to do it. And then LA made a big pitch, and he was more interested in LA. But he thought he was going to the Niners. I heard that too. Yep.
But I'm not going to lie. Now, here's the weird thing. Maybe you got a Super Bowl out of it, but if you look at Stafford right now, I don't want this version of Stafford, and we're only talking about a year removed from all that.
I'd rather have Goff at this point. No, but what I wanted to say is we're talking about developing quarterbacks. It seems like Philly did it the right way. Take a guy in round 2. There's no pressure. You can sort of develop him at your pace. And look what the Titans did. They took Malik Willis in round 3, taking their time. And it seems like Malik Willis has all the talent that Jalen Hurts has. He could develop into that. Maybe when the Niners draft a quarterback, don't spend 3 first-round picks to move up for a guy that you don't – for a college quarterback. You have to understand that there's just uncertainty when you're taking a college quarterback. You can't be that certain he's going to be good. And even if he is good, it'll take a long time. And there's going to be a lot of luck that goes into it.
I think what we're seeing right now is at the end of the day, they all go through these development curves. Yeah. And the NFL, playing the quarterback position is too hard to give up 3 first-round picks for – a guy that hasn't played. Yeah. And that's the tough thing. And you brought up Jalen Hurts and watching him and how they went about it, especially once Sirianni showed up. They started him last year no matter what. And it's crazy because Hurts actually played well last year. And I saw people, and I tweeted this out. I actually quote tweeted, and I'm like, why does everybody give the benefit of doubt as it pertains to developing to everyone else, but Jalen Hurts can't? When he just had 26 touchdowns total and like 5 interceptions, whatever it was. It was like it was a good year. Went to the playoffs. It was a good year. And it's like that was his first full year starting, and he had a good year. Not great. And it's like, oh no, well they can't do anything with him. And it's like, well, why can't he get better? And look what we're seeing right now. He has gotten better, and they stuck with whatever it was that they saw last year, even if they had to lean on certain things a little bit more.
Well, it reminds me of what happened with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was trending upward, but no one really saw him becoming an MVP caliber player that year 3. And he improved, but also they brought in Stephon Diggs. That was big. And so this year, the Eagles bring in A.J. Brown, who is – I still think they should have drafted the Niners should have taken him over Debo. But anyway, he's that freaking good. And you put him on that offense, all of a sudden, they're elite. So they did it right. They really did.
They did it right.
And the thing with the Niners is, man, Trey does have more than enough weapons. It's just
it's Kyle.
Usage, man. It's Kyle. It is Kyle. It's on Kyle.
To get out of his own way and just be like, all right, let's go.
Find your inner Harbaugh. Find your inner Sirianni.
Harbaugh, and you'll be fine. And your players won't be as tight.
That's true. Josh says, have you... real quick, because the thing about Harbaugh is that if people say he took over a stacked team, well, the Niners have a stacked team. He knows how to coach a stacked team. The problem with the Niners is that they're underperforming under Kyle. Like, maybe Harbaugh's perfect for this roster. He's done it before. Give Kyle credit for rebuilding and building what he's done. But if he's Mark Jackson, does that mean that Harbaugh's Steve Kerr? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Josh says, have you done predictions yet? Sorry, I'm late. I don't do predictions on Thursday. I'll wait. Do you want to make a prediction today on the game?
Nope.
I mean, we don't even know which guys are going to play. Let's wait until the injury report comes out.